I'm not gonna worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy.
We talking about
Twitter.
Triple yoy.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy.
We're always trying to get 8 pounds in a 5-pound bag.
Coach T, besides my Lord and Savior, Coach T saved me.
You don't know what you're talking about. Like it's just annoying.
We're not urinating on the fire, man.
Not urinating on the fire. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, if you gave up on this team, you know, in September or in October, or hell, you know, during the coin flip against the Colts or Cincinnati, I don't know what, then you're not part of this storybook season. Yeah, sure, it's not, you know, it's not a Hallmark movie. It's more of an HBO movie. And guess what I like to watch? All of the above. I'm watching a lot of TV currently, but this is a storybook season. Just because it's not, you know, a 16-0 season doesn't mean that this is an exciting time right now. It's what Jin's talking about. The conversation about the Steelers' social media conversation, exposing all your hot and toxic takes and garbage takes, you know? But just like Mike Tomlin told Mason, go get your hat on. I'm putting my hat on. I got the hat and the big earphones. I got the big boy earphones. I'm Kyle Kreis, high on top of the hills of Universal City, in the 412. Greg Benevent.
Hello.
Still chanting Mason Rudolph.
I did actually do a little bit of that today when I was working out.
Where did you stick around? Did you make it to the Mason chants?
Kyle, I did not make it to the game. I was too sick to get out of bed. I was almost too sick to podcast last week. If we had been in the same state, we would have not done it in the same studio. I was too sick. I didn't start to heal up until Christmas Eve, but that Steelers game went a long way towards me actually being able to heal. And what little breath and oxygen I could force into my lungs, I did use to chant Mason Rudolph from my mother's couch.
Chicken soup for the soul, as someone once wrote. You didn't make it to the game. Dang it!
I couldn't. It just wouldn't have been. I mean, look, I'm as crazed a fan as there is, but even I, on some level, have to think, geez, if I'm a middle-aged man who can't stand up for more than like 60 seconds at a time with this cold, maybe it's not the best for me to be out in the rain for 3 hours.
Maybe in the second half, we've got, I don't know, playoff scenarios. I think I've read like 4 or 5 different playoff scenarios, including the dude who shows up on election night on NBC.
Yeah, that's an annoying bit. I mean, I'm glad they give that guy work the rest of the time, Steve Kornacki. But yeah, I don't know about you, but reading the playoff scenarios, I read them and I am more confused than when I start reading them.
Well, I think I got it figured out, or at least I know 5 or 6 different takes of people who think they do. We'll get to that in the second half, because playoff, we still got to win 2 games first.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, because there's still plenty of garbage takes. Let's get to... Let's just start, because, you know, we'll get to the Mase love in a minute, because there's plenty of that. But I want to get to the most garbage takes on the biggest win of the Steelers season. In what? It may be the biggest win in 3 seasons. Anyway. Garbage takes, starting with at Panther 4954710 Panther Pride. Steelers fans are not smart enough to understand why a win today hurts this organization more than helps it. Anyway, We won the game. We kept this season alive. Everyone knows that if we're supposed to give up on this season so that we can start looking forward to next season. Gosh.
Absolutely, because if there's one thing we know that has a foolproof chance of working, it's the NFL draft. Even before we start this podcast, I always do like a quick football search to see what's going on, just in case there's some big news story, in case we have to bring it up. And the one thing that everyone is talking about right now is that Trevor Lawrence is hurt again. The number one pick that the Jaguars were terrible for, I don't know, the last decade to get is hurt again. So if there's one thing we know that always works, it's the NFL draft.
You're saying number 1 picks aren't guaranteed.
I mean, that's what I thought, but what do I know? I'm one of those not smart Steeler fans that were glad to see the Steelers win.
You know, I'm still bummed we didn't have Reggie Bush or Mario Williams, right? Oh, we blew it. All those number 1 picks.
Jamarcus Russell.
Panther pride. Well, you know, that's not the only reason why we're dumb. How about at Jay Bailey NFL, Jarrett Bailey? Steeler fans, I hope you'd enjoyed the last 3 years because it's going to be like this for the foreseeable future. What exciting seasons? Like I said, I'm down for a season like this where we're rocking it in December, win or lose. You know, how about I expand on this one? Not just the last 3 years. How about the last 17 years? It's going to be like this for the foreseeable future.
I mean, Kyle named this section Hot Garbage Takes, which of course is perfectly fine. He also could have called it Hot Sour Grapes Takes, because for the haters, it really was Christmas. The idea was the Steelers were going to lose every game 33-6. And at the end of the season, Tomlin was going to get fired. And then everything that they wanted was going to happen. And then basically in one pass, that all disappeared. So what you're seeing with a lot of these takes are these people trying to cope with that emotionally, which is absolutely what this tweet is.
Insane, I would say. And some of this was like on Christmas Day or within hours of Christmas Day. Peace on earth, goodwill to... Oh, let me get this tweet out. How about at Zany_baseball, Zany Bloom, Pitt Pirates' biggest hater / lover. The worst and somewhat likely thing to come from this Steelers blowout win is for Mike Tomlin to excuse the shortcomings of the last 3 weeks, and there have been many. Last I checked, 1 win is not worth 3 losses. This is not a transaction I'm willing to make. Why are we so excited about this 1 win? Just because the season is still alive, we should still be peed off about those 3 crappy losses. Believe me, I still think about those losses at night. But hey, we're here to play another day.
I mean, that's right. They have another game coming right ahead. Also, I mean, if you have to go by which games are most important, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Bloom, division games at home. I mean, that's as important a game as any other. Sure, they should have won multiples of the other games, if not 2 or 3 of them. But in the end, the shortcomings of the last 3 weeks, I feel quite confident, are going to be blamed on Mitch Trubisky and some combination of injuries.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you could, injuries and quarterback play. I think for the season, I think it's going to come down to, inside linebacker injuries and quarterback play is the story of this season. One of the stories, unless the story is Mason Rudolph saves the day. Should we just get to the... What's
right,
that?
and we don't know that very well might be the story. That's just it. We don't know all the facts at this time. But like I said, I keep thinking that all these tweets are absolutely because the haters thought it was going to go one way, and then very quickly it went another.
Where I want to get to the memes. Where'd I put my phone with all the memes? All right. Well, let's get to the Mason memes. Then there were plenty. Oh, where did I leave my phone? Did I lose my phone? Did I lose my phone during the show? Well, what a way to start the new year. I will maybe my resolution will be to give up my cell phone addiction. All right. Let's get to the Mason memes. There were many, starting with at Terrible Tradition, passing down the terrible tradition. This seems like a fitting first post. Rudolph is cooking, and it's a picture of Rudolph with they made his nose red, of course, right? There was a lot of that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But it gets better. Let's go to at N Ketne Ben Yantic. He's here to save Christmas. Now we've got the reindeer, the claymation reindeer, old school in a number 2 jersey. So that's a little cute. I like that. A little bit more work done than just putting a red nose on.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, that's certainly positivity is always accepted and always welcome. Putting a little effort behind the positivity is welcomed further still.
Now here, let's this was my favorite meme straight from at Highsmith High Five, Sam Highsmith. I was so happy for Mason Rudolph tonight. Second best post game hug tonight, and the pic he posts is it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in a Steelers uniform standing on a defeated Bengal. So I think that was the best meme for the Rudolph season.
I agree, and I think what part of it is that the reindeer looks so happy, it looks almost maniacal.
Yeah, it is a tough looking reindeer there.
Yeah, like the reindeer's like very keyed up about standing here right now.
Now, everyone wanted to get in. It was a little, I don't want to say cliche. Hey, anyone who wants to jump in the realm of song parody, I support. I think we need more of the fun Steeler content out there instead of just hot and toxic takes. So let's see. Some people were into it. Like we got at Wizard of Fire 007 Wizard of Fire. Rudolph the Red-Nosed QB had an amazing arm. And if you ever saw it, Pickett's was gone to the house. I guess if you have like a Yinzer accent, that kind of works.
Sure. I mean, this is, I don't feel qualified to speak on these things, but I'm more than willing to back you up here.
Then we've got at Steelers fan UK90, Ryan Parsonson. Rudolph, with your spiral so tight, won't you guide my Steelers tonight? I guess that's cute. A little bit, the syllables don't actually, it's a little bit syllabic, multisyllabic, but whatever. It's good for a tweet.
Right. And again, we don't know, like you said about the hater. I mean, maybe they're tweeting this in between happy drinks and spending time with family on Christmas. If so, then this is a very good effort.
But I feel like we're the kings of this kind of content, so I thought that
you are. I sit at the foot of the throne. Yes.
I say why not try our own version? Is it not gonna?
Uh-oh.
Do we got is this music? Okay. No, they're not. Oh, I picked up the wrong. Oh gosh, everything is just coming up. Not Kyle today. Even the karaoke doesn't have the. Here, I'll do it a cappella. I'll do it pentatonic style. Are we still in Christmas season?
Yes.
Bradshaw and Blackledge and Byron and Dixon, Charlie and Landry and Tom Zach and Brister. But do you recall the most handsome Steeler of all? Rudolph, the third string Steeler, had career-defining throws like Benjamin. And if he wins this Sunday, his legend will surely grow like Devlin. All of his black and gold peers have seemingly gone down in flames like Kipsbrough. Now we've got to let old Rudolph win another football game, or he's a jag-off. Then on one Christmas Eve, Tomlin came to say, Rudolph, put your ball cap on, your shoulders are seasons upon. Now all the fan base loves him, and they shout his name with glee. Double yoy! Rudolph, the third string Steeler. Let's go down in history like Tolstoy. I mean, that rhymes with
tremendous.
Double yoy. That wasn't,
Yes. Yoy is, when Shakespeare was writing his plays, he never had to worry about how to rhyme yoy. So you face a challenge that even he did not. And you more than met it in that wonderful song. If I wasn't holding my microphone, and it's the only reason you could hear me, I would have stood and clapped.
Well, don't stand, because then your face would be off of the screen for the YouTube watchers. Too. The question, I didn't even want to answer this question because I think Tomlin already addressed it fine. But, the conversation is Kenny or Mase. Let's get to this tweet. At Mark Madden X. Mark Madden, Pickett had 24 starts. He's a bum. A wasted first-round pick. Rudolph is a better quarterback. Is that what Tomlin is saying without saying it? He's saying that, yeah. No, he's not. What's Tomlin saying?
No, he's not saying it. Tomlin was saying that I think the fact it makes sense to take Tomlin at his word. He has I don't think Kenny is 100%, and I think with Kenny not being 100%, there's no reason to force him into what's going to be an absolutely insane environment at whatever they're calling the Seattle Stadium right now. Two, it's Madden's hot takery is the guy's very erudite and very smart, but it's hard to, believe him when he keeps being wrong. It's not like he was saying Rudolph is a better quarterback just a few weeks ago there. So I personally think we can punt on the is Mason or Kenny better conversation until September 2024 and just enjoy it right now. But no, I think this is the right thing to do. I think forcing Kenny to go out there at 70 or 80% is not worth it after what Mason did last week. So I don't think Tomlin's saying that at all. And I fully expect Kenny to be the quarterback next season. But I also don't know. It's nice to see this team do well and be unsure about these things. But I love the Kenny thing to work out, yes. But my real loyalty is to seeing this team succeed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We don't have to worry about this really until next season. Let's see, we got 2 games to win here. Gosh. Hey, let's go to at Hot Rod 86 Jeb. Mason Rudolph already has the top 3 throws of the season. Does he have a point here? He has at least one, maybe. I don't know. You got Kenny to Austin was a pretty good one. You got Kenny to Pickett. To Pickens in Cleveland.
In the Baltimore game.
Baltimore.
And the Baltimore game. Yeah. That I forgot about the Cleveland game. So yes, whatever other issues there were with Mason back in the day, it wasn't with him throwing a deep ball. He threw a very good deep ball. What he didn't do was throw many other balls to the guys he was throwing to at the time. So but what's nice, what I don't mind about a take like this is somebody getting carried away in positivity, which is something we really haven't seen a whole lot of in the last couple months, particularly in the last month. So this is a take I may not agree with, but I'm very glad to see.
Everyone has seemed to forgot about Mason's pocket presence, which is kind of less than stellar in the past. Although up until the Cincinnati game, you wouldn't have known that.
No, you wouldn't have known that. And it's and what we haven't touched on, which I think also is sort of the subtext of a lot of these takes, is I didn't realize just how bad that Bengals defense was. I know it's the division and things happen and the division's always different. And, I remember lying on the couch on Saturday early in the game and talking to my mom and aunt about the Steelers have never blocked Trey Hendrickson. Well, he got hurt in this one, very early on. So it's even the Bengals, the Steelers did have troubles with. I think what was it? Even Freiermuth managed to block Mike Hilton this time. So a lot of things went right beyond Mason, and hopefully that keeps going. But this defense is pretty bad.
You're exactly right.
You are right. We still, and we got 2 games. It's and it doesn't look like, I don't know. If Baltimore. Will Baltimore sit their guys in Week 18? That's next week's. That's next week's thing, I guess. If they win,
if they beat the Dolphins, then don't they clinch home field? Then they have no reason to play. I think if they win, they'll sit their guys. Well, rephrase: if they win, they'll sit Lamar. It's not like. He's not even like other quarterbacks. Like if you send Lamar out there and he decides to run for, 6 yards on 3rd and 5 because that's his instinct and he gets hurt that way, that's going to ruin any season. I imagine if the Ravens beat the Dolphins, and they should, then I imagine they'll sit some guys.
Should I don't think there's any shoulds this season. I don't know.
No. Should, that's a good point. Should has left. Should did not make it to 2023.
Yeah, should leaves with 2023. See, new year, new preposition. What is should? Is should a preposition?
Maybe should has been downgraded to maybe.
Coming up in the second half, we'll talk playoff scenarios, and maybe we will talk insiders, lack of insiders. You know, there was speaking of year-end recaps, there's one list that does not have any Pittsburgh insiders. So we'll talk about that coming up.
Did you bring the peanuts, pretzels, popcorn? Did you bring the burgers?
Where's the beer?
Did you bring the ketchup, mustard, pickles? Did you bring the pumper?
Yeah, it's here.
Did you bring the icy light Iron City pumper?
Can't forget the pumper.
One of each.
Did you bring the ice to chill the pumper?
Yeah.
When you want a cold one, just reach. Have a picnic, have a party, call the people, tap the pumper, have a pumper party. Did you bring the pumper? Did you bring the pumper? Did you bring the pumper? Yeah.
Second half time. I don't even know. It might maybe it'll be a maybe we'll be under the time for once. You know, usually the shows go so long. Maybe for once we'll be under because everything is going wrong. I'm like I feel like I'm driving the spaceship. Everything's like, Scotty, the hyperdrive is malfunctioning. What, you know, Star Trek. Everything is malfunctioning. And I'm just waiting for the third act for it all to come together.
But the team is winning, which I think helps fuel the entire enterprise here.
Yeah, everyone is learning lessons along the way and saving the world. Let's go. Playoffs. Got to win in Seattle. But if that happens, what's the scenario? Let's go to @Steelers win 109. Minka Bird Steelers. With the Texans and Colts lost, the Steelers now have a 90% chance of making the playoffs if they win their next two games. Man, that seemed when I first read that, I thought, that doesn't seem right on its surface. But I went to the New York Times playoff predictor, and it is true. It's true. If we win out, we have a 90% chance of postseason.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, but it gets back to something that you said in the first half here about how, you know, so many teams that have been so many favorites lost early in the season, and then the teams that took their place and became the new favorites lost later in the season. Hence, we're talking about the Texans and Colts losing games. So, yeah, it totally makes sense to me that if the Steelers pull these two out, then yeah. But by that same token, I think if you come to us in September and said, hey, is 10-7 going to get in the playoffs? We'd say, yeah, because 10-7 would have gotten in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. I think a winning, you know, I wish I had done the exact stats on this. I think if you just having a winning record, it gives you, I think maybe one team or two teams a season with a winning record don't make the postseason. Certainly 10 game, maybe only one team every few seasons with a 10 wins, you know.
That's a rare one. And even in our, you know, expanded and perhaps diluted then with the math 17-game season.
Yeah, that's the thing. All these, you know, these statistics with 17 games now, it's hard to necessarily base on history. You can't say, 10 wins guarantees you now that it's 17.
Right, now that it's out of a higher number, yeah.
90%. Well, you know, let's break it down to something simpler. Uncle Jimmy D. D. Steelers need 3 of the 6 to happen. Bills lose 1. Browns lose 2. Broncos lose 1. I think we already got that. Jags lose 2. We've got one of those. Colts lose 2. Texans lose 2. And they play each other. So one of those.
So one of those two is going to happen.
So we need the Bills to lose 1. Or Browns could lose their last 2. But I think they play.
Or the Jags lose an extra 1.
Yes.
And then you get to your 3.
Yeah, in fact, that seems to be what @Steeler Nation says. Clear path for the Steelers to make the playoffs. Win out. Jags lose 1 game. Houston plays Indy week 18. A loss by either puts them in. So Jags, it's Jags versus Titans in week 18, or it's Jags versus Panthers in week 17. Which game would which game are you betting on?
I mean, when I'm here at my mother's house, I get to see other NFL games in a way that I don't when I'm in Los Angeles. And having just seen bits of the Panthers on Red Zone, I don't want to bet on that team in any context of them doing anything positive. So no, I'm going to go with something happening in Week 18 there instead.
You're betting the Jags will lose to the Titans.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, well, also too, the Titans played. I'm sorry, I got confused there for a second because my brain farted out. But no, the Titans, they played the Seahawks tough. I mean, it's if they weren't the recipients of maybe some calls not going their way, they might have won that game at home with Tannehill without Levis against the Seahawks doing everything they can to keep their season alive. So so I think the Titans, I think the Steelers win against the Titans on Thursday night is maybe a little more impressive in retrospect than it seemed at the time.
We also have got Bills Dolphins Week 18, and Dolphins win there could that turns out to be pretty important. I could see the Dolphins beating the Bills.
Certainly, especially if the Dolphins do lose to the Ravens next week. Because the Dolphins then kind of have to win to be like, hey, we're keeping pace with winning this division, with getting that home game. After everyone talking about how great our offense is all season, we need this game to survive. So yeah, I think that is a big one. I also think there's so many of these games that it's unlikely that Steelers Ravens gets flexed to prime time. But again, I don't want to say should anymore, as we've learned today.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Mason versus I don't even know who is it? Still
who was
Tyler
the guy
Huntley?
who beat him last year?
Tyler Huntley.
And Tyler Huntley. Yes. Thank you. I was not going to have that name.
I was thinking RG3. Is he still on that team? I don't know. Well, but let's go over to Reddit. We haven't been to Reddit in a while. Do we have the where's the Reddit sound? User Stars Blink. Remember the last time the Steelers lost 3 in a row and needed to win out? Picture of Super Bowl 40. Any parallels yet? Is it too soon to draw parallels to that season?
I think it's a little too soon. I mean, that team went on a longer winning streak, but in a way, hey, if they beat the Seahawks and the Ravens, that may be a more impressive regular season winning streak than the Super Bowl 40 team did down the stretch. I mean, the Bears had an excellent record coming into Heinz Field for the game where the bus ran over Urlacher. But other than that, it was a string of bad teams. It was Browns. It was a not so good Vikings team on the road, and it was a terrible Lions team at home that the Steelers struggled with for much of that game. So that's why a lot of the talk at the time, the haters were saying that the Steelers didn't beat anybody, which is why they're going to go out to the Bengals in the first round. So again, it's a history for a lesson from the past about how maybe should doesn't have a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah, Kimo von Neuhoffen strikes, right? Was that anything?
That was that game, yeah.
So let's see. I think the band is the band trying to get on the field. Oh, come on, turn off. Oh, God, everything is just. Oh. I need a new candy machine, new candy factory in 2024. All right. How about some odds and ends, starting with at NFL Dove Kleiman, Joey Porter Jr., King of the North. Did you watch, since you weren't at the game?
I did end up seeing that. I did not understand the reference at first. I thought it was a reference to the alma mater I share with Joey Porter Jr., North Allegheny, but apparently it's not. But it's not. It's something else, right? Isn't it Game of Thrones or something? Or it's,
it's Game of Thrones speak. But if you would have said the reason he said King of the North is to rep North Allegheny, then I would have said, oh, I like that. I thought he was kind of coming out saying, look, I'm a rookie, but I'm already the number one guy in the division. I'm already the guy.
That's what I think it was. I think you're right. I think that's what it actually was.
Well, he walked the walk against Cincy,
yes.
But I feared coming out. I was like, what? A rookie coming out talking like that? We got to win
that's
3
a lot,
games.
Yeah.
We still got to win 2 more games, so we'll see if he keeps that moniker.
Especially if he's covering like DK Metcalf or Lockett or, I mean, whatever other problems the Seahawks may have. I mean, go-to great wide receivers are not among them.
Yeah, these wideouts, what, you've got the rookie, and you've got Tyler Lockett, and you've got Metcalf, and that's certainly going to keep a lot of people's hands full. I don't know if Michael Walker is going to keep up with
But hey, Patrick Peterson playing 3 different positions or whatever very well might. I mean, it's again, they've had a lot of issues in the secondary, but he has really seemed to come on strong in the last so many weeks.
Yeah, I mean, people, earlier in the season, people were like, one and done with the Steelers. Now I'm hearing talk, you got to keep them for next year.
Absolutely, yeah. He's still got that other year on the contract. I mean, why not? There are enough other issues to fix with this team that with something's working, let's try and hang on to that for a bit longer.
How's about at Girl Surgeon Melanie Friedlander? Credit to the Steelers' defensive coaches for coming up with a game plan that worked despite starting so many new players and having some guys playing out of position due to all the recent injuries. We never talk. It seems like this season we've never talked defense. But
Right.
you gotta tip your hat to the defense, right? With all the junk play. Now, can we do it for 2 more? It's almost like this game isn't gonna matter unless we win the next 2.
Well, I mean, I think this game's always going to matter because even if they unfortunately they were to lose the next 2, it means they don't end the season on like a 7-game losing streak or whatever it would have been. I mean, that would have been genuinely terrible, and that might have led to more changes than perhaps could benefit this team. But I don't anticipate them losing the next 2. They certainly could, but I mean, to the extent that they'll be able to compete in them, it's because they were able to hide Michael Walker as much as possible. I mean, here in this game, he was it was apparently only his fault for 1 giant blown missed play touchdown, which if you can keep that to 1 a game, maybe not so bad.
If you only give up 1 touchdown per game, then we'll take that.
Right, well, exactly. 1 touchdown because specifically of what this guy did. I mean, one of the very few videos I watched, because I've been away from the social media this week, mercifully, was just that. They're like, oh yeah, this is why it's his fault, and even I could follow that. I was like, oh yeah, it was. So you keep that happening once a week, I think this team might be okay on defense.
We went from bend but don't break to you can have a small fracture but don't disintegrate.
Yeah, exactly. It's not bend but don't break. It's like, okay, if Michael breaks, the rest of us only bend.
Let's get flexy, according to my TikTok followers. How about this is my favorite story of the week. At Pit Fanatics FB, Pit Panther Fanatics. Doesn't surprise me. Most of the Pittsburgh sports media consists of blowhards who are very unprofessional and think it's cool to constantly crap on the local college team every chance they get. And sure, it buys them some clicks, reacts, but most people see it for what it is, 4th-rate hackery. What are we talking about? Well, the story is the nominees came out for the Pennsylvania Sportscasters and Sports Writers of the Year. 7 nominees in the Sportscaster, 7 nominees in the Sports Writers category. All 14 are from Philly. Not 1 Pittsburgh nomination. So where are these Pittsburgh insiders?
Well, I mean, I would think the city that has the team that goes to the Super Bowl and the team that goes to the World Series and then the NLCS in 7 games is more likely to maybe do these things. But yes, I think it does speak to a different, I don't know if it's necessarily a level of professionalism, but I mean, it's, something beyond just thinking, okay, how are we going to get to the next click? How are we going to get the next view? And perhaps taking a longer view is how you can do more consistent quality work here.
It just, I don't know what it is. I guess when you're working from a day to day on the micro, you're more focused on that and maybe not on some bigger picture things or some bigger ideas or some, maybe something that might take a little bit more work. I don't know what it is. It's, it just seems like E to me. It seems like, E! News or Entertainment Tonight.
That's a good analogy.
It's Access Hollywood for the Steelers is what we get. We don't get the good content. Even that, even the Tomlin book I read, I wish that there was, maybe a little more, some more insight maybe. And that guy was an insider, so I don't know. All right, enough said, I guess. Whatever.
No. I think your point is correct. I think it's something we've always. That's part of why this podcast exists. A significant portion is because this is, we're not here to provide solutions. We're here to point where the problems are. And I think this has been a problem, particularly in a season like this, of being like, it's we know the things are bad. What else could there be? And we haven't gotten a whole lot of answers to that.
For me, it's like this podcast. It's like I did this podcast because it wasn't feeding my appetite, the Steelers content that I wanted. Like everything is just so negative all the time, or so garbage, or so this is what should we do, and this is what I would do, and this is what, why don't we do this, or this person's horrible, blame this person, blame that. It's just like, man, are we Steelers fans? It's like, this is I'm not getting the content I want, which is hopefully something more fun. I don't know, more boring. I'm not claiming to know who's going to start on Saturday. We play Saturday or Sunday? I'm not claiming to know.
No, it's New Year's. It's New Year's Eve.
I'm looking for something fun. I want to celebrate these games with people that are enjoying it as much as I am, not just like, look at what's going wrong every time. Yeah, if you focus on what's going wrong every time, then you've only had a great experience 6 days of your life, Steelers fans. if you're old enough, or if
And I'm sure you were complaining then. I'm sure they were complaining then.
Oh, fans were complaining they didn't have 6 rings in the 70s. Whatever. All right. Is there anything else?
Hey, one real thing I did want to jump in and say before I did get a Christmas gift. I don't have Kyle's mailing address, even though I've been to his place multiple times. I meant to unpack this, but I will give it to him in person when I turn to Los Angeles. I bought us a personalized terrible towel here.
Oh, very cool.
I'd rather have Kyle unwrap it again. I've only been to Kyle's house several times. I didn't write down his address, so I had it mailed here with other Steeler gifts I got family. But yes, this was something I should have done last year, and I'm glad I did this one. So but it speaks to what Kyle said. I mean, the experience with so much of these games are about who you experience them with, and it certainly helped so much for me being able to experience them not just with Kyle, but with the rest of you paying attention to this. So I'm grateful for that during this and any other time of year.
That's what we've been talking about.
I suppose so. 2024. 2 games left. Seattle, take it down to Geno Smith. Take them down. I would have rooted for Geno Smith 9 times out of 10, but not this week.
Right. And it also shows a quarterback can get better, right? I mean, a guy that initially seemed like he was good and then was bad and then come back. I mean, how does, you look at Mason and Kenny, how can you not look at Geno Smith and think there's some hope for the future here?
Geno, look at Baker.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, did Mase just earn one more contract for next season? How hilarious. We didn't even mention it. The most telling thing to me was he was already thinking like, yeah, I'm going to have to start selling real estate in Santa Monica, shoot, I would love to just talk to him just about that, just about what he was thinking all week. Man, I hope there's a 30 for 30 for Mason, but to do that, he's going to have to win this week. So, all right, until next week, follow us on all the social media and that stuff. YouTube is starting to it's starting to kick up in minuscule terms, so I appreciate those. Leave a comment or subscribe. Otherwise, keep listening to your coach.
Be their best selves. That's going to be required.
Stay in school.